Welcome, brave souls. This is your GM in the Great Barrier. We are back today with Star Trek Adventures Aegis. We are continuing episode 9 of the season, The Unhappy Ones, part 3. Before we get going, just a couple of acknowledgements here. First, for those of you keeping up with the recorded programs, my continued apologies goes out at the time of recording that Broken Sword is not yet up to date. The streams have been loaded up. There's just issues fixing one video so that we can finish up our racing arc. Once that is completed, everything should show up, should be properly uploaded, and I will release those on a more expedited schedule. So you might see a drop every couple of days or so. In the meantime, you can always join us live here on Twitch, and with link in the description of the video here, and you can keep up live that way. The streams do go back at least a couple weeks for that as well, but hopefully this will be fixed soon and I can just edit this out for the future. Okay. With all that said, let's go ahead and get into a quick recap before we get before we rejoin the episode. So, when last we left off, Aegis had discovered a Klingon raptor, seemingly cold and dark, but on a long return voyage to the Klingon Empire. There was also signs of a life sign that did not track with the that did not track or did not read properly as Klingon. There were signs of low life support and a curious signal, something close to a distress call, and even some very strange, incongruous mentions, an allusion to something about the masters of life and death. The away team had come aboard, but faced a surprise when, in an effort to find out what had happened, they discovered that the crew was in fact still on the ship. They had apparently been hiding, and in some measure that you haven't totally firmly understood yet. But suffice to say, they got the drop on you. They were able to they were able to surprise. They've killed one member of the landing party, one of the Makos. The rest of you were only saved by Xantar's intervention, particularly by pledging his services as a physician. Sorry, mic trouble here. This seems much needed, Xantar, as the Klingons all appeared to be somewhat ill, somehow troubled. Near as you have discerned, Xantar, there appear to be a few. There appear to be a few issues at work. Your main focus to this point had been what appeared to be something resembling the Levodian flu, although, very curiously, at least one of the the flu itself looked very different in some regard. You hadn't fully teased everything out. There also appears to be a separate viral agent at work that has been kind of outside of your focus, and it's creating a lot of confounding variables. But suffice to say, the Klingons, as you found them, they appeared ill, they appeared sweating, they appeared to lack their cranial ridges and anything of the sort. So you have spent most of your time aboard this Klingon raptor, the Dochpa, as some of you have learned, trying to figure out what's going on there. Meanwhile, the away team has been held down in the hold, the rest of them, that is, and the crew aboard the Aegis have been trying to figure out some means of rescue, or at least they had briefly engaged with the Klingons. During that time, in order to fully suss out the threat, Captain Sharp has shared some very interesting secrets with Lieutenant Commander Shira and Mr. Marcus Horn, the ship's resident diplomat and spook. Different spook from the spooky things that we're doing, more intelligence lingo. Something that, at any rate, the information that Sharp has revealed to you, it may help you some in this adventure, but it may also, it may portend a greater issue of trust or threat than you're ready to deal with. But as everything takes shape there, something else is taking a very different shape, and that would be the ridges on the forehead of the Klingon gentleman whom you have been working with, Xantar, one Ensign Carrick. Particularly as he struggled, he clutched his face and fell to the ground, clawing at the air before you, and just seemingly doubled over in pain. You had been able to get a great deal of sensor readings with your medical scanner to see significant changes happening. Metabolic processes kicking into high gear, organs seemingly readjusting and growing more into what you would expect as Klingon standard. And as he has pulled his hands away from his face, you see that the man's normal Klingon complexion is restored. Ensign Carrick groans and grunts and clutches his hands at the biobed, the firm grip, and steadily pushes back up. We rejoin the game here with you, Xantar, seeing this metamorphosis before your eyes. And his words: Phase 2 has started.
Phase 2? Elaborate.
He kind of stretches. He'll roll his head around about.
I'll go over and help him, of course.
Yeah. Oh. Xantar, give me, just for the sake of fluff, give me a. I'm going to call this a daring plus medicine roll, and I am going to expend a point of threat to increase your complication range.
God damn it. Alright. In the name of fluff. Oh, no.
Alright, that is a 19 on the die and a complication. You do succeed.
Best way
so
to start the week.
Yep. I almost figured I might not need to spend the threat for this, but I thought we must leave nothing to chance. So let's see. Would you prefer to take that as a narrative complication? Would you prefer to buy it off with the momentum you have, the floating, and the one of the 6 in your pool, or would you prefer to ignore it and return the GM 2 points of threat?
Did you say that we had a floating momentum?
I technically gave you a difficulty 1 task, and you earned a floating point of momentum with 2 successes.
Like I said, I would like to use the floating to buy it off, if possible.
Well, one of those can be... you have 1 floating point of momentum, I should say, which can be used in tandem with something from your pool, which, I will note, is full, so...
What do you guys think?
Narrative is always fun.
Yeah, no, narrative.
Very good. Yep. Xantar, you move over to try and help him, but the instant that you are an arm's length, he has grasped you by the front of your suit and Carrick in this case is going for a lift, which will
The
mean
face.
this will mean I'm going to give him in his state difficulty of 2 fitness plus security to see whether he can lift you off the ground. So let's try that.
Just. No,
Hey.
he's fine.
I get my point of threat back. Yeah, Xantar, you feel your feet leave the ground as with one arm, this Klingon has lifted you up, pulling you very uncomfortably by like basically kind of the chest piece of the suit. He just turns his head very slowly, and there is a look of just absolute, like, in his eyes, bloodlust, practically. This man looks as though he is responding to a threat. He is about to deal with said threat, and he is very much going to enjoy his life doing it.
So you're rolling a new doctor, right?
Yeah. Hang on.
He pulls you closer.
Tooth placed.
And his expression will change. He will he'll blink and just kind of release quickly so that you fall back to your feet. As I said, Doctor, we have noticed some behavioral changes.
Yes, as you mentioned.
You will want, he says, pulling the knife back out. Another sample may be in order. He says as he cuts into his other wrist, or not his wrist, but rather cuts into his hand and hands over the dagger. As a note, Xantar, your hands are presently ungloved, as you had taken them off to apply You'd taken them off to apply some sanitizer?
Yes. Have I got my sanitizer on me?
Yes, you do.
Okay, quickly, just.
Very good.
And then takes the knife, obviously, and continues to run the sample for tests.
Okay.
And I think Xantar wants to try and focusing on that very, very elusive element within the viral formula.
Very well. So, this is actually going to be the first part of a gated task here. This task is the way that this will play out is, in order to address this issue, you are going to be in each scene performing at least one step of the process. And the way that it works with gated scenes, once you solve one task, you unlock the next option, basically.
Okay.
So, the first part is going to be an effort to try to screen out and identify this element here. In this case, we'll say that the Klingons have a sort of version of a what we would know as a PCR test, something that basically provides, in combination with sort of energetic stimulation, supplies like sort of DNA precursors or their equivalents, and would allow you to highlight some elements of the virus in order to better understand it.
Everyone nod your head like you understand what he's saying.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Everyone no, not everyone. Everyone nod, and then Xantar specifically, give me a reason plus medicine roll. This is going to be, I think that I'm going to give you this at a difficulty of 4 now.
Difficulty 2 if you can explain PCR right now.
uh, just to try, in other words, in order to put that what Felix said in, but without having to me explain it, I do have my talent field medicine. I'm about to send you it in Discord, Zach, just to see if it might apply.
Of course, of course. I can give that a quick review. And I don't think that's really increasing the difficulty here. I mean, this is not
Okay.
I'm not placing the difficulty this high because the Klingon tools are like bad or different from what you are used to.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you've been working with them a few hours, and Carrick has been, giving you.
Damn it, they're familiar to me now.
They're familiar to
Fair
Carrick,
enough.
and he's at least been offering his 2 cents.
Fair. Okay. Complication range set at 2 still, or at 1?
That can go back down to 1 now.
Okay. Then I will. I would like to spend a momentum for a die,
Okay.
and let's see how we roll.
Oh.
Ooh, I like.
Nice.
Okay. So that is 4 successes with 2 crits on the die. Because you definitely had focuses, and man, it is a good thing I did not spend that extra credit.
Yeah, I was just looking at the number, just like, oh, another 19.
Yep. Okay, so, yeah, in that case, you will succeed. The drawdown on momentum does mean that you're at 5 points, and that you don't gain anything back. But I mean, you've still got a decently sized pool.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure the rest will use it, wisely and sparingly.
indeed.
There's
it's more
cheesy.
nice.
To be fair, actually, I could always give that back to you because technically there is still some momentum floating around in the scene, so you could have used that instead. Alternatively,
That's
you can just keep that around to ask a question and have that ready personally. I'll give you some initial info here so that you can
Okay.
deal with that. In the time that it's going to take you to review this Xantar, you watch as you watch how the virus responds to the DNA chains and try to sequence it out and get a better understanding of this. There are 2 things I would say that you notice during your study. First, as far as observations from the sort of testing that you're doing and amplifying elements of genetic code, you notice that this is just it's extremely exquisitely crafted, or it has a crafted might not be the right word, although I think it might linger in your mind because the virus, the element here is everything seems uniquely, or the genetic material inside this virus seems uniquely or it's very uniquely laid out. It seems to, you can identify that within it there are elements of certain Klingon genes. As viruses basically carry around genetic material that they try to propagate and transfer to each other. But this definitely contains material you would associate with Klingon genetic information. But there's more onto this. There are various different elements that seem extremely complicated, chains that if you didn't have the sample right next to you, you would have difficulty guessing how they work. But that takes you on to the second element that you notice. This virus appears to be very actively outcompeting this unusual Levodian flu strain, which with a little more time observing it, and with I think some of the elements from your testing catching samples of that virus as well, there is something that starts to click. As a side observation, this flu strain has unusual genetic material that you wouldn't have seen in the virus, or like in a normal case of Levodian flu. Some of the gene sequences almost appear human, or there's a lot of similarity to that, which is an interesting detail, and maybe there's a thought that clicks in your head that could explain some of the situation that the Klingons are undergoing, but that hardly makes sense. That would mean that there was some serious, or someone had made a very serious, slightly amateurish by Denobulan standard effort at, basically an effort at genetic engineering, which is its own troubling thing. Or at least it would be if not for the fact that the Levodian flu strain that you'd been paying attention to initially, it seems to be getting outcompeted by this other exquisite virus in the latest sample. The genetic material that is being imprinted by the secondary virus appears to be propagating so much faster than what the flu strain is doing. It appears that it's all likewise, it is even preventing this other the flu strain from actually linking into the cells and be able to even get there in the process. Basically the very exquisite sort of thing is just knocking all of it out, and as it propagates in the host, it appears to be reverting the afflicted cells to something much closer to what you would expect to be a normal Klingon biosign, but with a much higher metabolic rate. The cells are functioning extremely efficiently, and there's just all manner of other changes that appear to be going with it. So in essence, above board, the Kuvat plague, it seems to be it is basically being reversed in a sense, and the whatever this new thing is seems to be rebuilding or possibly building something more. It's very hard to say, but that's where that's kind of where the time that you spend looking over this gives you a sense of what's going on, Xantar.
Interesting.
No. There are still a great number of mysteries with it. Of course, let me ask: is there anything that I know? Obviously, the medicine bit may not quite come into a sharp relief. I guess, would there be any questions that you would want to pose, since you do have that momentum to obtain information? If the others have an insight, then don't hesitate to draw on them above board.
Yes, I'd like to phone a friend. Pulls out communicator. No, I've got nothing at the moment myself. Unless anybody else has anything that could help. Stares at the rest.
Can't think of anything.
Xantar just says, "Well, I can't figure this out." Stares directly into the camera and points. "Can you?"
You?
Hola, soy Xantar.
I mean, I guess the best thing to do right now is to try to full on separate the two plagues and try to figure out what the hell the second one is.
Hmm.
Especially if it's so well designed compared to the Levodian flu. Because look,
Yeah.
like as natural, it's odd given how perfect, how nice it looks. The second plague is, because especially
Define nice.
either because things are not exactly clean, right? Like you'll still see traces or perhaps a legacy within something like that. Like you'll see kind of like similar structures or something like that to show where it evolved from.
I mean,
Yeah.
very clearly bioengineered.
Yeah,
I think.
Obviously.
if it's so well designed, that is not the sign of a natural grown disease. That sounds like something engineered, or at least suspicions of being engineered.
I mean, could you like try to venture a guess who made that? Because I'm not sure that bioengineering is like the Klingons' forte.
Yeah,
No, I think, Jack, can I like a hazard a, a hand here, stretch out and say that he would know that he would know the history of the humans, that they had a problem with the genetics of genetics war.
also
Um,
we really enjoy plagues and
yes.
bioweapons and chemical weapons. Really
So
enjoy.
would it be a hard stretch to say that possibly there's some human intervention with this?
I can definitely help you here, Xantar. In part because Denobula actually has a long and comparatively
Hmm.
comparatively innocuous history with genetic engineering.
Yeah, it's a basic Tuesday for us.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the nobody on Denobula had the thought of let's genetically engineer super people so that we can, and then they don't go through the find out phase later of you accidentally create a bunch of Napoleons
Yeah.
or other
Look, humans
We didn't fuck around and find out. We just went, we'll just tweak it a little bit. We're good.
humans obsess. We obsess. That is our fatal
Yes.
flaw.
Anyway, Xantar, I would say that given the comparative expertise and time in the interspecies medical exchange, Denobula is probably ahead of the board with just about everyone.
Mm.
You don't think a Denobulan could put, like a Denobulan specialist would have put this together. You couldn't fathom a lab that would have done something like this. Certainly no one that is likely to have operated this far out and expressly performed genetic engineering on these Klingons. It is a means question. It is in terms of being able to craft something like this, it is also very much a motive question, as in nobody would be foolish enough to try something like this.
Yeah, it begs the question, like, we've been looking at this and like, okay, how does this virus get here? And it's like, I think we should be asking, why is this virus here at the moment? How did it get aboard this ship?
Like thinking about it now, the only way you could actually finesse a disease like that nicely is that if it basically evolved itself, and that is requires a culture tank, more or less. It needs to be by itself alone. So yeah, it definitely shows signs of it would I'm not a GM, but I definitely think, like, as a doctor, it probably definitely shows signs of this is not a natural thing at all.
No.
Yeah, I'm willing to give you the benefit of that line of thinking there, Xantar. The understanding that it's probably this isn't something that I think all of this logic would flow for Xantar, essentially.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool.
I'll do you one better and say that it's pretty like all of this mystery around it and what could have sourced this continues to make you think of the locked door in the sickbay and the bio sign that you had picked up at an earlier point, a question that has remained unanswered for you this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
That said, Carrick says, "Now you see stage 2 in process. However, this
Yes.
can you suspend the agent and halt its progress?"
I might be able to. I would have to separate the two agents and see if I can isolate it. Yes, I can try that.
And treatment in this stage is essential, Doctor.
I see. Yeah, Xantar's starting to work a bit quicker at the moment.
No. As the yes, you start working on this as undoubtedly anxiety gnaws and thoughts of how other unstable. This introduces new unstable elements into the situation.
Yeah, and as he's going, like Xantar's like feeling a tickle at the back of his throat and just like, oh great, now I'm getting COVID.
Well, as all of this as all of this plays out, speaking of unstable elements, let's take a quick run down to the cargo bay. Remora, you and the away team have been situated in the hold of this Klingon vessel for some hours at this point. You have heard nothing from the doctor, who, when you last saw him, was being dragged off by the Klingons to perform some medical service for the Klingons. But there have been no updates. There's been nothing else that you guys have been disarmed, and due to a complication rolled last time whilst you were away, your particular helmet has been breached. So you are, you know that however things are going to go, if you are to get off this ship, it's not going to be through EVA activity.
At least not for very long.
Yeah. If you do go EVA, you'd better hope it's a quick trip and that medical staff is ready to treat decompression sickness. So, going on down the line here, with the establishment that you guys have limited visibility, there's a single Klingon that is about and on guard. What would what would you guys like to be doing right now? And we'll go in order from Remora basically on down. So I think it'd be we'll go left to right in essence. So starting with Remora, then on to Alvarez, Marple, Mora, Layton.
And you're asking how we're feeling?
How you feeling? If there's anything that you'd want Remora to do right now, just anything of that sort. You can take a moment to engage in conversation with your fellow team members if need be.
Just to clarify, Mora's the head of the Makos, right?
She is the
Yes,
senior-most Mako, but technically she is enlisted, so...
I'm the highest ranking Mako on the site.
Yeah, she's slightly more senior than the other Mako that's on hand.
Then Remora's sitting quietly and just staring at Mora, waiting for any signal for him to just go and beat the living crap out of that Klingon.
Well, okay, so right now we're we are in the prison situation. So As it was described to me, we would quickly, without weapons, be overwhelmed by the way the GM described it last time. Mora's not dumb. She's waiting for an opportunity. So if I see that Hector is stressed out, I will just say, situations change, and when an opportunity presents itself, we'll move. But it's no anybody who gets injured here, there's the medical capacity is not nearby. Are you okay? Hello?
Think so? Think so, sir?
Okay. When an opportunity appears, we'll definitely take it. And I'll go over talk to Leighton and say, Leighton, I want to move, but I want to move when we have advantage. Does that make sense?
He just grunts and nods.
Yeah, because otherwise, a lot of people are going to get hurt, and we have no medical backup.
I'm literally the head nurse.
Yeah, without much in terms of equipment, if we make this move now, we're going to have some injuries, that's for sure. And they have our doctor separated from us. I'm urging that we show caution and wait for an opportunity.
GM, I know we kind of moved away from the direction you wanted to go to in terms of how everybody's feeling, but is the Klingon a TOS? The old scientist Klingon, or is it the typical Klingon that's guarding us?
He looks more like one of those old scientists right now. Are you guys looking to create an opportunity here?
I just kind of mutter quietly to Specialist Mora, is something's wrong with these Klingons. They don't look like Klingons to me. Do they?
No. That's why, and with all this weird stuff dripping, this stuff, and them pulling our doctor away to treat one of their people, they have something going on, something serious.
We don't know much about Klingon society. I mean, this just could be a subspecies.
It could be, but that is a channel fight right there. And they're going to be armed, and any engagement we go into, yeah, look, I'm willing to do it, but
I might have a way of getting us all together.
Shoot. What do you got?
I'm going to create an advantage, GM.
What did you want to do?
I want to have a small little, a tiny one, like no more than say like 2 fingers across, of a bladder that contains a certain engineering gas, that I know for certain, given some unfortunate experiences of seeing other engineers do it, that too much of it in a contained area can cause mild seizures. If inhaled. And I think I just want to have like maybe 1 or 2 of those available that the Klingons thought was not a big deal because they didn't know what the fuck it was and they just didn't care. It just didn't look like a weapon. Didn't look like a weapon. Didn't look like a tool. I wonder what am I gonna do with gas?
I'll give you. Tell you what, I will give you the. How to think about this?
Pouch, small pouch. Whatever you want to call it, a bladder.
I'll if you spend the momentum, I will give you like I'll give you one of those containers. Something that was nestled in a part of the suit that would be harder to get to. Maybe even a suit.
It just accidentally slipped in there, and I didn't keep much of mind of it. And now I thought about it, I'm like, oh wait, I have this, and I didn't know what good it would be used for, because it's definitely used for other engineering purposes. But now I have an idea. I look, Nurse Marple. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nurse, but this shouldn't cause too much of lasting problems for any of us, right?
How well aren't we all still in our EVA suits, or
Everyone is, yes. Though Remora's suit has been damaged. Like a chunk of that visor has been cut open, so his face is exposed.
That's just science talk, though. I'm fine.
we
However,
should be fine in our suits? I don't know about Remora though,
I
or
don't
whether
know.
or whether even it would affect him.
I'm fine. Ridges start forming very Klingon-like above on Remora's head.
You're a comedian.
I don't know what this would do on Klingons, but I was thinking that if a number of us start having seizures, that they would take us to the doctor and we'd all group together.
You want us to have seizures in order for the doctor in order for us to be with the doctor?
Only minor ones.
Only minor
Only a little seizure. As a treat.
There's I'm not sure there's such a thing as a minor seizure. Using Marple's medical knowledge, how serious would it be if we all inhaled?
So Marple, I'll tell you what. Give me an insight medicine roll, difficulty 1.
Insight medicine roll difficulty.
Oh, please fail. Please fail and say it's brilliant. Brilliant idea. Let's go.
I will spend momentum to get an extra dice. Wow, where did that? Well,
Yeah. Just as a note, for the stream, the breach roll there was completely unintentional. Aegis got excited.
He says that.
3.
Ooh.
Okay, so that is that will be enough to give you back a point of. I'll give you 2 points of momentum. Also, great. Yes, 2 points of momentum back. So that should refill your pool. You'd spent 1. That'll.
Oh, I have 3 medicine. Okay. I was like, I should only have a big of high. No, I have 3 medicine. All right.
Okay, so with 3 successes, Marple, you would know, in part because you probably treated some of the engineers, Leighton included, for this. You know that tending to this in a short time frame, the damage is easily reversed. However, if left untreated, that does constitute an injury which would have corrosive effects on the respiratory system, as well as neurological damage. So there's, it all depends on whether your hosts are going to be nice about seeing to it that you have medical treatment.
I think. Right, so it shouldn't be too bad as long as treatment is fast, but that's assuming they care.
We have to be careful making any assumptions. They haven't demonstrated any of that. They've already said they don't care. However, though, they may be using us as a negotiation tool with Aegis. So, You're the medical expert. Long-term damage. We don't know how long we're going to be here.
Long-term damage from inhaling this includes brain damage, neurological problems, and corrosion of the lungs' ability to take in oxygen.
So we'll have Alvarez taken then. He jokes.
What?
Just what?
I mean, as a Felix, they give it to Alvarez. He's the most likely to be useless in a hand-to-hand fight.
Hmm.
The plan has a lot of risk, and it assumes how they'll react.
Well, it
Or
also
we can try on
it also
Klingons, but
definitely incapacitates some of us.
or we can try it on our friend and let the dice roll.
Well, I suppose we could try to use it against the Klingon.
Remora has a lot of adaptive biological systems, meaning Remora's better able to withstand this kind of stuff. Is that true?
Ask Remora.
I'm just a normal Duluvan.
Okay.
I suppose if Remora were to stand far enough away,
We can also
Didn't even get a
fix
good
that visor.
Suluban. He just got like a normal one.
That's duct tape. We could
Wow.
potentially fix the visor.
just a regular Sullivan without any other cool additions.
I throw rocks real good.
No air conditioning, no cloaking, no. Didn't even come with a free gift pen.
Oh,
Could we at least have not
Remora
have like,
pulls
a
out a
torpedo
freaking
launcher?
It's up to you, Specialist Mora. Shall we try on the Klingon? It doesn't need much for one person.
And we don't have access to our weapons, and we don't know where they're keeping them. So once we do disable him, we're now moving through the ship. They're armed, we're not.
As I note, the Klingon you have been left with is carrying both a disruptor. Well, he's carrying a disruptor, a mek'leth, the single blade, like basically the medium-sized sword, and a diktak, the ritual Klingon dagger.
We're not armed, but he is.
Yeah, we can take his weapons. Then we would have to get somewhere in engineering to do something well.
I can.
So what's the plan?
If you give me a nice wall, a bulkhead with access, I can do a lot.
Okay, I believe it. Then that's a viable plan. I'll back it. But it's going to get unknown once we get to that hallway, even with weapons. Now we're an adversarial group, and these are jacked up Klingons of some kind. They're on something.
If you don't
That's a
wish to
viable
do it,
plan?
We would need a way of contacting Aegis, surely.
That would require getting to the bridge or main engineering, or can he tap that junction?
I can certainly try. He gives like a small, dwarvish kind of grin. Look, the dude's like maybe like 5 foot. He's not exactly a dwarf, but he's very chunky like a dwarf.
Right.
Big guy. Big guy, hairy.
Yeah,
As Mandel as possible.
as hairy as regulation will allow him to be.
Yes.
Sorry, Leighton. We've got to do some shading.
No, don't do it. Nobody
it.
wants to see. Nobody wants to see what's under the facial hair.
The beard is where it keeps all the engineering knowledge.
He looks like a thumb.
Oh wow.
But yeah, he just looks over to specials Mora.
It's got my approval.
You are the one in
The
charge.
only thing is that
Technically-
we don't know.
Sorry to interject. Technically, Remora and Alvarez are the ranking officers in this situation. Just so I know we're deferring to the Mako, but
Oh, okay.
They're just asking me for advice, and I know that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I'll speak to Remora about it. I just kind of shuffle over to Remora and hey, Cheesy.
Yeah.
I imagine that Remora and Leighton have been something of friends, right? Do you think Remora can understand the grunts that is the normal talk for Leighton? That nobody else can really understand outside of maybe Romanov.
Romanov has decode Leighton level 10.
More no small words.
Yeah. So he just scoots over and just starts grunting out his normal quote unquote Leighton talk to Remora about the plan.
Yep. With each grunt, there are subtitles across the screen.
It's Chewbacca levels of unintellectual. Except,
I have one question.
Mm,
Why are you coming to me for this?
you're in charge.
Uh-oh. I mean, of course I am.
Yep. Remora, the implications of the battlefield promotion you received some weeks back when you were in the binary system is becoming all too crystal clear. All this time you thought that without what's his face around Xantar, you thought Alvarez was in charge.
What's the probability this is going to work?
He just stares at you. He just stares at you. It just gives you a long stare, unblinking dwarfish stare.
Okay. Is there a plan B?
He just long stares at you with a dwarfish stare, unblinking, as the answer is probably not. Type of stare.
Plan B: sit here on our asses.
Alright. Well, then I'll be plan
Please
B.
get killed.
But yeah, but otherwise for the audience, it's just unblinking stone stare.
He just grunts once, and it's like 5 paragraphs of text.
Yeah, just, yeah, it's five paragraphs of text of no. Otherwise, we'd just be staying here and nothing else, and probably waiting or dying.
I give a grunt of do it, and then I'm going to stand right diagonal. I want a nice, clean line for when I need to charge that Klingon. Yeah, it's perfect.
And I want a charge line too. But I'm going to sit down in a very, in a place away from the others so that it doesn't look like we're executing anything.
Leighton will just start. We have deck plate underneath us, right? Because it's
You
shit.
do.
Yes. I go to a corner of one of those deck plates and just start making sounds as if I am trying to scratch it open, trying to get the Klingon to approach me, see what the hell I'm doing, or at least stop me, but that isn't shooting or stabbing me.
Yeah. With enough work at that, the back.
Also, Shira, give to momentum. Sorry, to momentum because we're gaining the advantage of that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fine you doing that. Where the hell are these things going?
Oh, it's the screen's invisible, or like I have Fog of War on, so when you drag it out into those sections, it just disappears.
Okay.
They are there.
But anyway, there you go.
At some point, I will learn how the dynamic lighting works. Okay, so you're just scratching at the floor basically right in front of you, or were you going back to a corner to try and do something?
No, well, I'm... yeah, I'll go over to a corner.
Okay.
As if I am digging. I'm doing something.
Yep.
That he can't see because of my stocky figure.
Yep. This particular Beck is like, ugh. Hey, human, stop! I said stop.
I make a screeching sound as I start just peeling away at peeling it open.
Why can't you be normal? Oh, happy to. I'm sure that any Babadook fans appreciate that. Yeah, with he taps his. Excuse me. He taps something on his wrist a couple times, and then
Probably calling for backup.
pulls the mechleth and starts moving on. The one Mako's who's right here is going to just say, "Move against the wall, now," and the Mako will slowly. That one will comply. Mora, you are kind of next in his path.
Despite his short stature, he's actually making some headway with that bulkhead. Just like yanking it.
Mora, are you going to...
I'm going to make it look like I'm complying and keep my hands very visible, but what I actually want is for him to pass me so that I can try to hit him from behind.
He's going to gesture with his blade to move against the opposite corner, so as to have you like out of range. Like you can, as you he does get close enough to you, Mora, that you see he is like very sweaty now and is also like a bit more wobbly on his feet. You'd almost swear that like his face is like kind of pulsating in some ways. It's a little weird and difficult to tell in the dark. But yeah, he just gives you a gesture with the sword, like move aside.
Okay, if I do that,
please never say again that someone's face is pulsating. Thank you.
Pulsating faces.
No promises.
No.
You can almost hear it. You can almost hear the wet celery sounds.
What? Oh no.
Can you move your token there, Brian?
Zach,
Yeah.
before I want to freeze time and ask you a question, because this is an opportunity. As I'm moving, I'll start to move to comply. If he pivots his head away, I'm going to attack.
I was gonna wait for him to get point blank and then freaking spray his face.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yes. I go for it. I'll move to the comply.
Okay. He's pulled out his disruptor now too. At this point, it's like, stand down, or meet your ancestors in whatever hole whatever existential hole they came from. My game is not on point today.
I'm gonna spend 2 more momentum to create an advantage of me reacting to him by yanking the thing, like trying to like turn around, but also carry like still holding on to the deck plate. And with an awkward oops motion, I knocked the phaser into the hole I created. So now just the drug just. I mean, it's still visible, but it's just in the guts of the ship as opposed to in his hand, and it's something that he would try to reach for given his sickness.
Oh, so like you're going for a disarm, basically.
Yeah, with the 2 momentum.
I will allow that, but I'm going to say that it is out of reach for anyone, or it is a thin crevice. So one could reach.
Never mind. No.
You could also just knock it in our direction.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll just knock into their direction and kind of stumble. And as I'm stumbling, I'm just going to spray his face.
Okay. You give him a spray. I'll say go ahead and let's see. I'm pondering whether to add any. We'll probably add an element of a role. Let's call this daring security, and since this isn't something to contest properly, let's call this a difficulty 2 role.
Oh no. Okay.
Or I'll make it daring and engineering, since this is
Thank God. Thank God you are a lifesaver. It went from a 10 to a 12.
You've still got momentum.
Yep. Oh, I don't have that talent for him. Wow. Okay. I need to work on
Have
this
you
dude.
activated him?
I have not. So you know what? I'm going to do that now. And give him he is not cautious. I'm giving him what is the one that gives threat to the GM?
Bold.
Yeah.
So bold engineering. Because you have to select the discipline for it, I think.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
yeah, you do. It's only for one discipline.
Oh no. I know. I never mind. I was adding it to my list on my character sheet. So I was like, oh, we have a list on my character sheet? No, we don't. Alright. And so I'll give you some threat to GM.
Okay.
Environmental systems. Decontamination.
Let's see here. This rests, I'd say, this honestly rests a little more closely on jury rigging than anything else.
Nice. I approve of that.
How many dice are you buying with threat, by the way?
Just one.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna use my value. If you can't beat him, rig him.
Very good.
You get a critical success. And here we go. Huh. Does Bulls give me a reroll possibility? Probably not.
It does, yes, actually.
All of them or just one?
I'm double checking the exact wording on that because I happen to have the rule book up. I think that let's see. Whenever you attempt to buy a task with that discipline, you may buy you may re-roll a single d20 is what the Klingon.
Yeah, that makes sense because cautious does all of them.
Yeah, I've seen people play differently with either cautious or bold.
So that's 3.
All right, yes. So that will give you 3. That means you earn back 2 points of momentum. And you managed to get this guy pretty good in the face.
1 point of momentum because difficulty was 2.
Oh, right, yes. 1 point of momentum back, so I will award that accordingly. And then you can go ahead and
give away two more momentum because this was an advantage.
Well, no, you already bought the advantage the one time here.
Oh, okay.
We just you decided not to buy the other advantage that would have put the disruptor out of.
Oh, okay. All right. Just double checking. Yep.
Okay.
I want to be honest.
Of course. So, yeah. With that, sorry, just trying to keep track here. Okay. Yeah, the gas gets in. You throw the gas. Like the canister and trigger it. There's a spray of sudden release as it rapidly diffuses, but it is very concentrated when it gets into this man's face as he just coughs and doubles back a moment. That is, I think, going to be enough to. This
gas is actually a gaseous form of a corrosive and a sealant. normally used for the various bits of complex technology or complex circuitry that we have.
Yep.
In case of damage.
So that is
I
going.
use it for gear rigging.
That's going to send him down for a moment, and he's going to start seizing up, like as he was initially like clutching at his throat, and yeah, he will drop his weapons and fall to the ground prone, face down.
Yeah, I just immediately use the free deck plate to try to squash him, as it were, try to hold him down while everybody else moves.
Okay, what's everyone else doing while Leighton is trying to keep the man down?
I go
Can I
for the
assist?
disruptor.
Going to help Leighton, Remora?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna help too. I want to get to his weapon because we have company coming.
Disruptor or Mek'leth?
I'm going for the disruptor. I want ranged.
Okay, I'll be sure to give you a disruptor here, Mara.
Alvarez, what are you doing? Technically, you are by title a security officer.
Well, I wanted to go for the disruptor, but
If you want to, look,
you're-
if I see you heading for it, I'll let you grab it, and I'll take the Mek'leth. I don't care.
sure, this can only end well.
It's not going to end well, but at least we're moving in a direction. That's player to player.
Yep. Just see the moment
With everyone dogpiling the Klingon, Marple's just going to take a look-see down the corridor.
Okay. Let's see. Very quickly, I'm just... well. Okay, Marple, you glance down the... direction of the car, like through the crates, and see the entrance that you believe you were initially brought through earlier. It was the location where, like, this was the door that you had come in from when you'd initially been brought in by the Klingons. It appears much like the other doors, with a fairly standard sort of pad system available.
Are we subduing him or knocking him out?
That's the same thing.
I mean, he's already pretty much down for the count at the moment.
Keep subduing him. He's a Klingon.
Can I use that deck plating real quick?
Just continuously punching him in the face, just like, stay down, stay down, stay down, stay down.
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
I tried to roll off the deck plate and just sort of put my weight on one of the Klingon's arms.
Yeah. I grab the deck plate and I just slam it on his head.
With the chair!
He stops moving for a
And in
moment.
comes Cheesy with the steel chair.
Yeah. It is a loud clatter, and there's a bit of a wet sound as he brings it down with such force. It's honestly, like, with the acoustics in the cargo bay, it is noticeable enough so, Marple, that I dare say that, like, it sounds as if something very gruesome has happened behind you as you are looking down at the door. Also,
yeah, everyone's listening.
that's definitely an attempt at a lethal blow, so the GM is taking another point of threat.
That's fine.
I think he is subdued.
Leighton just gives you a very stern glare, Remora.
I did not mean to do that hard.
Just kind of narrows his dwarvish eyes of like, really?
I swear to God.
His
just like a
pirate
choir of,
nature
like-
is taking over there.
Yeah. There's just a choir just going on, just like the singing into his rest as he's
oh,
been knocked out.
oh.
Dong.
Leighton, does he have a comms device?
I check.
There does appear to be a some sort of wrist-mounted computer system.
I kind of wave the comms device.
Could be
Can
useful
we
later.
jam their? Can you jam their communications? We need to start moving. This is a pinpoint. We're pinned in a room. Time to move.
Just starts trying to fiddle through pins or like any needles, pins, things that I could use to jury rig this comms device. GM, as the engineer must again perform miracles while everybody else stupidly just does shooting and stupid
You
shit.
have to insert the needle and hard reset the device.
Leighton, as you ponder
Okay.
as you ponder this next, as you ponder how to try and use this wrist communicator to make the necessary changes, and everyone else is beginning to scatter. Like Alvarez, you are Alvarez is probably the one person to notice, although maybe slightly distracted, as the door opens and in steps the very large Klingon from moments earlier, or like who had initially met you earlier. The moment he sees you,
I shoot immediately, out of surprise. Not even intentional.
I'm spending. Well, tell you what. I'll let you make the attack, but I'm going to call it a difficulty difficulty 2, security plus control roll, and I am spending 3 points of threat to increase your complication range.
We do have plenty of momentum for you to spend to give yourself dice.
Yes,
Yeah,
That's rude but fair.
And like that, you shoot
So-
Xantar as he comes in.
Complication range is now 4?
It is 3.
Yes, I would like to buy an additional die.
Yep. That's one for you.
Explosives, demolition, and shipboard tactical systems. I don't think anything applies.
Not with
Nope.
that attitude.
But I haven't given him anything yet for his activation.
If only you had to use your minor action to aim.
If only.
Can I give him a focus because I haven't given him his activation yet?
I'll allow that.
That's weird. It's not hand to hand. It's hand. No,
Hand weapons.
what's it called again? Come again?
Energy
Energy
weapons,
weapons.
particle weapons, handheld particle weapons. stuff like
Hipfire?
Yeah, energy weapon, something like that. Guns.
that. Focus on
Desperate
focus on
shooting.
clinging
No.
cling-
Come on.
killing
A
Klingons.
focus can be anything. Focus can be anything. Desperate shooting.
Shooting, yeah.
This is gonna be
Expert at murdering
great.
Klingons. I think that's the best way.
Marksmanship is what you're thinking of.
Boo.
That is 2 successes, so that is enough to hit with a disruptor, which I have not given you yet. So let me fix this because that is going to be enough to hit. Let's see. So that is disruptor pistol. Okay, Marcus, or rather, Hector, take a shot.
Marcus.
Terrified.
That is 4 points of stress plus 3 from Vicious 1 for a total of 7.
Spend the momentum to re-roll those 3 zeros.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Okay. Go through the challenge dice, set it to 3, and then
Oh, yes.
Okay, that adds another 6, so that would be a total of 13 on the damage there. Okay, didn't think we were going to go to this contingency that soon, but
I mean, the funny thing is, Alvarez has a history of doing way more damage than he has any right to when shooting.
okay. Let's see. So that is enough to... that is actually going to be enough to inflict 2 injuries, so I am first going to pull up the value. Jag Yebu Shtaha. Or roughly concentrate on the enemy as a value in order to buy one of those off. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's illegal and he's not allowed to.
If only. Then as your disruptor makes contact, that second, that burst of energy seems to well through him and just, from the point that you hit him dead square in his abdomen, burning through his shirt, you see his torso, illuminate and the energy diffuse through his body. You realize, Alvarez, one question actually germane into this. With the hip fire reflex, was he going for a lethal shot?
Again, it wasn't intentional at all. Like, if he were just vaporized, I would 100% accept that. Unfortunately, he bought that off. There wasn't any intention behind it. I think he would have killed him by accident if it happened.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Fair enough. So, we'll say that the injury was intended to be non-lethal. Or, that the disruptor wasn't attuned so high.
I mean, I haven't changed it. Whatever the Klingon set it to, that's where it's at.
Yeah. Enough for eventual gruesome death, but not, immediate gruesome death. But yeah, you see Alvarez's, from that point in his torso, through any bit of exposed flesh, through his arms or his hands, as this Klingon, the green just kind of snakes through him, seemingly, along his circulatory system, through it, spreading out in waves across his skin, and he just clutches it. He clutches it into his fists, blood coming from them as he holds them tight, as he grits his teeth. With the burst that you let out, it is almost as if he himself begins to bubble and pulsate in general. And yes, this most definitely applies to his face.
Oh.
And it's
wet cellar.
His
Pulsating face.
his face gets grows increasingly, there are elements particularly around the eyes that get darker, and you realize that with that, dark streaks kind of come through his face and just begin to give him a power, an unusual sort of tone of just something fundamentally off about him. But you also notice his arms is just all start to increase in mass. And while as you were doing this with that second dropping of threat, those of you in the other corner who were busy subduing the Beck feel as suddenly that ground, like the ground beneath you, or like the bit of those of you that were kind of holding down to the deck plate, you feel the sudden force of that Klingon as he rises up, casting you aside as if there was nothing, and just an inhuman roar as he bolts to his feet.
Sense.
Yep.
I guess in human raw makes sense. He isn't human after all.
Yep.
An in Klingon roar.
Ah!
Sadly, soundboard not available. But basically opposite of what Panda did there. Yep. Alvarez, the moment that you are going to be the first one to draw someone's ire, as in like mere moments he rushes forward with
yeah.
yeah.
I'm so sorry. My mic was muted. Can we use a momentum to keep initiative, or is it too late for that?
It's too late for Alvarez. I'll let you do something.
It's too late for. You don't have to phrase it that way. There's no need.
I mean, he's not wrong.
The
Also,
late Hector
I-
Alvarez.
Point of order, Zach.
Yeah.
Per the screen, the Klingon is too wide to fit through that gap. He's too small.
Oh, my mistake. He pushes the crates aside.
Oh,
he
God
comes
fucking
for-
damn it, it's
Minor. And by the way, that would just be a minor action.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, minor action to push the crates aside. As
My
he-
last line of defense taken from me.
I'm
Yep.
so sorry, Felix.
Yep.
Well,
So, Felix, daring and security, please. This will be contested, and I have spent a point of threat to purchase an additional D20 here. So let's make sure that's
So
accurate.
is Alvarez going to straight roll it or add additional momentum?
yes,
What's
he's
gonna
about to demolish me. Can I add demolition as a focus? No, I'm joking.
I want to use demolition to make sure I don't get splattered on the floor of the Klingon cargo bay.
I mean, should I use another momentum? Probably needs it.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm buying a third die. I don't have any focuses. There's no excuses.
So GM, if Alvarez loses, can you describe it as just like every other useless cargo in here? Just moves the cargo side.
Hey, he's not dead yet.
And
Yeah.
He still has feelings.
okay, let me.
Why are you even here?
Yeah, let
I mean,
me-
also his value is he's here for a good time, not a long time. So you know, whatever happens.
Oh,
Leighton, you, Remora, everyone hears the thudding as like the thudding and screeching along the hull as individual cargo containers are cast aside, and you hear the very loud noise as yet another bit of storage in this cargo bay is moved. With that, you are going to see Alvarez be propelled down. Let's see exactly how much that goes for. Let's that be. Okay, that is going to be 3 points of, or that's 3 effects, so that would be 3 points of stress plus another 2 for, or rather another 3 for Vicious One on each of them, and knockdown. So, unless you would like to buy that off with momentum, or if you have your determination, you could, and a value, then you could use that here. But he is going to just punch you square from the cargo racks and like send you flying past Marple.
looks like a cargo box got
Well,
out of the mess with it.
While an injury would be very, very appropriate and cinematic, I'm spending the determination to buy the injury off.
Okay. Let me check just one thing in the reference folder.
It just feels like the equivalent of an energy.
Yep.
You're
still
dying.
still marks down as an injury for
I am-
but you won't.
I am
it's-
going to drop 2
no
more
rolls.
points. Sorry, sorry to interrupt there, Craig. I am dropping 2 more points of threat, though, to have the disruptor, to disarm you, Alvarez. The disruptor is, sent flying elsewhere in the cargo bay, and you don't get a good sight of it, given how dark things are.
Oh dear.
Oh,
I would say it injured Alvarez's ego, but he has not.
No, it doesn't really.
Okay, so you guys are now in combat.
Okay,
Alvarez has
finish off
already
your-
done something. We've got Mora, Remora, Marple, Leighton.
Leighton.
Yep.
Get me in there.
Okay, you want to try and take a crack at this Klingon?
Oh yeah,
Which one?
this bad boy. Wait, what do you mean? Which one?
Is it?
There's 2.
There's 2.
Yeah, one's down.
One's-
Go.
One's
One
down.
was down and got back up again.
Yep. He
It
too
seems
has.
You can never keep him down.
eh,
You know what? He's surrounded. I'm gonna go after the big guy.
Right. Remora, you
I'm
charge at full bore towards the large Klingon who is just effortlessly, making his way through the hallway. Give me, I guess, a daring and security for to attack him in melee.
Okay. I'm gonna take the deck plating with me, and I'm gonna use my improvised weapons training talent.
Nice.
So for this scene, I may use an item such as a rock crystal or shard of metal lying around into a melee weapon. This weapon deals 2 challenge dice plus security damage. And it is removed at the end of the encounter.
Okay, you may make the attempt here.
Would hand-to-hand combat or athletics apply?
Yes.
Do you have 2 momentum so you can spend 1 for an extra dice?
No. We do. Do you want to waste it or do you want to save it? Because we only have 2.
It's only wasted if it doesn't come up with it, if it doesn't refill.
Yeah.
I mean, if it helps you beat the Klingon, it's not wasted.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'll get an extra die.
Okay.
Down to 1 momentum.
Sorry, I'm debating on if I want to use a determination or not. This dude's huge.
Use whichever you like, my dude.
I'd like to use the value resistance is never futile. Will that work?
Go right ahead.
I think that's
Awesome.
kind of, especially when you're facing a Klingon that big.
Going for my favorite, the 2 auto crits at the beginning.
Okay.
And then
Nice.
He
Oh,
matches
well done.
you. You do not earn momentum, but you have the initiative, so you are able to make your attack.
Didn't he spend his
Oh yeah, he did spend the
Determination.
auto crit, so that's 2 successes.
So we get 2 momentum back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go.
Ooh, hello. That's what, 9? 9.
You can spend 1 momentum to re-roll, right? Do you believe,
Let's-
right?
let's do it. The 2 zeros and the 1.
Rerolls 1. Yeah, rerolls 1. So it's gonna spend 1. So you can just re-roll the 2 zeros and see what happens.
Why did that
Nope.
not?
Nope.
It's just
Broke.
roll 20 being roll 20.
Just broke. You gotta redo it.
Hit it. Just hit it again.
Hit the attack again?
Hit the challenge dice again.
Oh, okay.
It's just roll 20 being done. Okay,
There we
okay.
go.
Extra 1. That brings up to 10. Nice.
Remora, you heave and you describe to me how you try to bring the deck panel down on the Klingon.
Well, the headshot worked on the other guy, so I'm going to try and do the same. I'm just going to jump up and slam it.
You do so, and you hear the sickening crunch as, like, bone begins to bend back. Would I be right, by the way, Remora? Are you going for another lethal blow with this type of head, not quite decapitation strike, but similar sort of thing?
Skull crunching.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to on the first one, but this one, I don't want this guy to get back up.
Okay, I take a point of threat for
And
that.
never keep you down.
Okay, question, GM. They are revenants at this current moment. While lethal normally would be murderous, as it were, we can't kill these dudes. So, can you really take a threat from that?
It's about your intentions as Starfleet
Oh.
officers.
Yeah.
The audience is judging your morals here.
A pirate has no morals.
Your boosts
And
mean
Zed-
nothing to me. I know I've seen what make you cheer.
And Remora has committed to following regulations, which he has been reading every night. So,
Oh, damn it, Mora, you and your new moral code.
yep.
I didn't think these dudes were alive, in my defense.
Oh, they've been very much alive, and Remora, as the deck plate comes away, and you see that his head is bent at an odd angle, his hand reaches back, brings the head back forward as his skull clicks back into place. The indent that you've clearly made on his ridges pulsates and pops back into position. And he
You know that
smiles.
noise when watermelons finally pop? Yeah.
You think you can defeat the masters of life and death?
Hey,
That's
what kind
probably
of
the
honor?
head trauma which is making him laugh.
Am I allowed to say something?
Talking is a free action.
What honor is there in having superpowers? You're nothing more than a cabal. And I've broken cabal before.
I'm going to enjoy tearing you apart, Sulaban. Limb from limb, as he cracks his knuckles. Do you guys want to keep the initiative whilst you are dealing with the or whilst Remora is staring down this other Klingon?
I have a question, GM, regarding that. Could I make an advantage at cost?
Elaborate.
If, like, can I create an advantage, as it were, as the mechanical function, but at the cost of threat?
You can buy an advantage with threat.
How much threat it would be?
It's 2, as per any advantage, and the GM still needs to hear the pitch.
Well, so let me describe this. We have an open deck, right? Because I ripped a panel off. There's wires and guts in there. Yes.
There would be.
There's a Klingon right next to the open pit, right?
I should say most of the like pulling up the bit of deck plating, you'd probably see like the gravitational generators and such. The power systems probably to like actually delve into the thing. Like if you're talking about electrocution, that might be a mite more difficult.
I was gonna say, like, if they're immortal and they can't die, but I need one immobile. I mean,
If you want to add to chaos, I reckon all Starfleet personnel have done 0G training, and I don't think.
oh yeah. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I just I see this. I'm gonna keep momentum.
We've all
And
got
I-
EV suits on, so that means
Yeah.
magnetized
Yeah.
boots.
I I'm gonna keep momentum. I'm gonna spend the 2 momentum we have. Then I'm gonna create the advantage as Leighton, despite being a very stocky person, does not have combat training. He has a good solid. Let me check. Sorry.
He has 2 in security, I believe.
Yeah, he has 2 in security and 8 in daring. He's not a very daring person, but he is an engineer. And seeing the gravity plating, he is going to as it's about to swing me with the batless, I'm going to step aside and let him hit the deck plating and fry the deck plating with his own batless.
I mean, he hasn't gone into combat against anyone.
Oh,
yet.
but he has no weapons left. I forgot he has no weapons. So yeah I'm just going to go over and stomp with my foot very hard onto the grab plating, initial platings.
Okay. Just try to maul into the grav plating and see if you can tear away at anything.
Just cascade it, because they're hidden beneath deck plating for a reason, They're very sensitive. Look, he has worked with deck plating. They are temperamental fuckers. So he's just going to stomp it really fucking hard and try to cause a cascade at least in this room.
Okay.
And turn off grab plating for a while.
I'll give you well, let's see. So you want to buy that advantage with threat then?
Yes, please.
Okay. That I will permit. I will take 2 points of threat. And you quickly stomp down on that. And with that, everyone begins to feel weightlessness take over as your feet leave the ground in the cargo bay. I'm going to rule that any melee attacks now take place at an increased difficulty of 1. Or, well, let's see. Actually, I'm going to rule that all melee attacks now take place at an increased complication of 1. Where the complication would essentially risk everyone, like you being propelled away from your target and not and having even successful damage if you manage to inflict it.
That's fine. Minor action, gravity boots, or magnetic boots, and then I'm just going to crouch very close to the ground and start jury rigging this communicator so we can jam communications.
Well, while you try to do that, the warrior that you've kept down, the Beck, he not able to reach you, is going for Mora next. So Kirari, Brian, that'll be your role here, with a daring plus security roll. Complication range is now up to 2. And the warrior's going to score 3 successes.
Okay, so my options are he's gonna hit, so I could spend a determination on the damage if I need to. Do I have any chance to parry? Can I attempt to parry this?
You do have the option to counter, yes.
I'm gonna counter. And
so
I'm daring in security.
Yep.
Can I apply my internal security doesn't apply, right?
Not right now, no. This would be like a martial arts or 0G combat type focus.
Okay. Minor action, I'm going to activate my boots, and then I will parry. Or parry, and then do that either way. Here it goes. I want to spend momentum on this. I want to spend 1 momentum on this.
Okie dokie.
We have no momentum.
You bought the advantage with threat, so there was still like a couple points left.
Okay.
So I have 2 successes.
Okay. So that'll be 2 successes on the board. That is not enough to beat the Klingon, who is going to, as you... honestly, it worked... the way that it worked out, Kirari, the magnetizing the boots actually put you in a slightly worse position because he was aiming for a kick kind of at center, but the quick tap to the magnetic boots got you down, and he's getting you face first. So that will give me back a point of threat, and he is going to make a pretty sizable kick. That seems a bit low in this situation. I'm going to check one thing here on the references. Okay, so ground combat spends.
This is going badly for us.
Yes.
How can we defeat 2 people who we can't knock out or kill normally?
I have an idea.
You apply to their good nature.
Space them.
All right. Well, Mora, that is going to be so that'll just be 3 points of stress, which I think. I actually do think that you got.
It's not a wound, so it's just 3 stress.
But you are knocked back and kind of prone. That is to say, you're like on your back, but you float up a little bit until the boots reconnect. Amidst all of this, there is as everyone is squaring off on against each other, like the battle is steadily being joined. There is a beep at the tall one, who some of you might remember is called Kurlesh. There's.
You go ahead and take that. We'll wait.
Yep. There's a beep at his wrist, and as he presses that, Kurlesh, report. Oh. Captain, our guests have gotten a bit unruly. Perhaps I should, with your permission, I'm going to subdue them. Let's maybe make one example.
Looks to Alvarez. Sorry, can't help it.
Just cheesy, just like an eye-rolling movement just towards Alvarez, just like that one.
I think Alvarez is just floating in midair.
No, just Karlach, when it says example, just looks to Alvarez.
Or do that Thor thing with Remora and just like stand in front of his line of sight with a smile. You mean me?
There's a moment of silence before Remora. You can hear faintly the mic picking up a. Gosh, don't kill them yet. But bring one up to the sickbay. I am going to need to speak with their doctor. Very well, he says, tapping that.
Good thing that's a free action, that conversation.
Yep. So, Suliban, which of these humans owns you? Which one of them is in charge of you?
You're muted, Cheesy.
Nobody owns me. The only thing that's owning me right now is a fight between me and you. So you better quit looking at them and you better start paying attention to me.
I'll tell you what, Suliban. If you want this to stay between you and me, tell me which one of them will command the rest.
I turn around and I look back. If it stays between you and me, does your other guy stay out of it?
You think, Simone? Oh, so you are in charge. How delightful. I'll put it plainly to you. If you surrender, drop your weapon, and if you do that, your remaining crewmates will be bound together, and they are going to behave as they should, defeated prisoners. If, however, you choose to keep up this pointless fight, this fight will not stay between you and me. Indeed, to the contrary, I will break you, and then I will make you watch as I tear each of them apart, personally, before your eyes. And only after each and every one of them lies bleeding before you will I consider ending your life.
Gotta just hoping for a fight between you and me. But okay. He's gonna look back to the crew and realizes he is the dumbest of them and goes, you know what? Yeah. You say if I surrender, they'll be fine, and I get taken to the doctor.
He'll nod.
I hand him the deck plate. Keep that safe for me. I'm coming back for that.
He's going to toss it aside, and I'm going to say that the deck plating just, or like the line is about here where deck plating has failed, so everyone, well, like, the rest of you may have re-enabled that, but the Klingon is at least floating a moment. Alvarez might be too, frankly, since he was knocked backwards. Yeah, if you, with the clattering of the deck plate, the Klingon, Kurlesh, he taps into his communicator and says, "Grush, secondary gravitational generator bypass, now." And with that, the other will fall back to the ground. Says, "See to it these the rest are bound." So, the Klingon gets up and just starts like manhandling everybody, tossing them towards the corner here. Anybody who won't cooperate, in essence. Does anybody care to resist with Remora's order to surrender?
No.
Lane just looks exasperated and just kind of looks at Remora of like, really, like, are you sure? After all this work, type of non-verbal look.
I give him a wink. Not like a everything's gonna be all right wink. A do whatever you can without me wink.
Except it's interpreted as a help, save me, I'm going to die.
They're just a grimace as he, I imagine the Klingon wants his communicator back. Kind of just reluctantly hands over the communicator and like looks back at Remora with some help.
The Klingon will take it, and for good measure will slam Leighton into the wall, almost hard enough to damage the face piece before shoving him back in the corner.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, with that, Remora, you will feel the iron grip of this large Klingon pulling you towards the door of the cargo bay. And with that, I think that we'll let I'd say the combat has played out for now, so we can move elsewhere. Let's see. Just checking my notes here. Okay, so two things here. We actually can take this back up to sickbay for a bit, and give Xantar some time with this. It is going to basically build right off of this scene. If the Aegis team would like a moment to talk on the bridge, you guys do have the option of trying to discuss plans. Though at this point it may be a next session affair. We might have to do a part 4 for this.
Meanwhile, on the Aegis, so what's happening? They're fucked. Damn.
We can switch over to sick bay. If that's fine with the bridge crew. I'd like Xantar to enjoy his episode.
Yeah.
My dude.
Thank you.
All right.
And at the very least, we can just assume that Shira and Sharp are preparing for pretty much a full scale war, for one big assault. Before in case other options do not go through, we're throwing everything in the kitchen sink on this.
Fair enough. Okay, so back in sickbay, Xantar, you've been studying this sequence further, enticed by the unique viral structure and how it is seemingly custom built to address the malady that had afflicted these Klingons before. Further enticed by the questions of what might be behind it, as this is unlikely to be a natural evolution.
It's frustrating. It's like this. What is it? How? Why? Why?
Do you pose the why to Carrick?
I will look at Carrick and go, why was this created? For what purpose? It makes no sense to me.
It's a moment's grumble, and discomfort, and like in terms of the look on his face, he says, "It would be difficult for an outsider to understand."
Forgive me, but that sounds like a very bad excuse. Could you try?
He ponders over it. A disease ravaged the Empire. It's done terrible things to our people. Although there was ingenuity among our finest medical houses to have discovered a cure. It left a great disfigurement, a terrible scar. Not simply to our bodies, but to our very honor. You must understand that our honor, our work that we earn through struggle, it is integral to how we value ourselves in society. You who yourself said you would have fought to the end if you could have saved those that you loved. Imagine if you had to carry that weight for an empire, for your descendants. It is the only choice that we had.
In using this viral agent together with this, I think you do the opposite. You do not accept that this is something that you yourself would be able to overcome, so you find a way to subvert it. My people are vastly different to yours, but I've learned honor comes from within. From my study of not just your own people, but from others. Aboard the Aegis, humans, the Andorians, and all other species I've met. Honor is how you hold yourself accountable. No matter what may befell you, whether it's disease, corruption of some form, you do not allow it to taint the honor. It's how you hold yourself. But I can see how this weight may push hard against you and your people. And for that I am all the more understanding of your society, and I thank you for your openness. But this is not the honorable way, as he gestures to the disease and medical equipment.
As you were speaking, Xantar, the door has opened behind you, and in has stepped the captain to hear some of what you have to say. To which she says, the denobulant sense of honor is not what concerns me, Doctor. How is your progress?
I am making some. I am currently working to isolate the viral agent that has been attached on to this form of flu that is attacking your bodies. In doing so, I hope to isolate it, destroy it, and therefore stop this metabolic change that is going throughout your systems, and hopefully cure you of your ailment.
She regards you with a sharp look and stare. Much like Carrick, she seems to have undergone a change herself. She is now once again bearing ridges of her own.
Ah, I see you going through stage 2, I assume.
Her eyes dart to Carrick and then back to you. How long?
How long do I think I could honestly say that I might be able to get this sorted?
I mean, if you could always try the you try to brute force it and just ply it with broad spectrum and stuff. That would be that might give you a result, but presuming the Klingons didn't try that themselves, it's what's its face. That could just be a dead end. In terms of something more specific, without better understanding how the virus works, particularly how its proteins are so much better at latching to the cells and screening out the what we know above board to be the Kuvat plague. Like time frame could put it hours, days, something like that. Maybe longer, even.
At the moment, it is unspecified, but I might be able to have a result in a possible way in a couple of hours. But this is something that I cannot just rush. If I make a mistake, it could end up destroying you entirely. And everyone aboard this ship.
Time is not on our side, Doctor. Perhaps I have not provided you either the complete means or motivation to guide your treatment.
Perhaps if you were more willing and open with some of the research and what has been going on, I would be more willing. The locked door in this room, for example, and the unusual life form behind it might be of interest and could assist in my better understanding this plague.
Careful, Doctor. We've invited you to work to this task, and we rest in your supposed brilliance and medical knowledge, but
Exactly.
just
I'm also the only one who can bring you out of this alive. But you have to be open with me, otherwise I cannot work.
The door opens once again, and coming through the way, the largest of the Klingons, a man whom you remember to be Kurlesh, walks through the door, pulling Xantar, like his grasp, like locked.
How did I end up over here?
Yep. While Kurlesh, much like the others, appears to have his ridges back, Xantar, give me an insight and medicine roll, difficulty 3.
Insight, medicine roll.
Actually, 2. This should be easier to tell.
Alright. Yeah,
Hey,
good.
you rolled a 3 anyway, so you gain back a point of
Hey.
momentum. Through the lighting, you make out that Kurlesh is looking much different than he was. Not simply because of the ridges, but you notice telltale signs of what seem to be more advanced, what you suspect might be more advanced stage here. And you will note, for one thing, this man appears bulkier than you remember, or even slightly larger, as if he had somehow grown a little bit and seriously downed some major protein after some extensive time at the gym.
Just briefly, they grow up so fast.
There are also signs, be it signs of like dark streaks and what you imagine to be his veins and arteries, and the concentration of dark or like the dark circles kind of around his eyes. A still quite significant amount of like sweat coating him. Even a slight change in the very slight change in skin tone that gives you kind of for this man, an ashier look. He looks like he is at once very ready to do violence, but he also does not look particularly well in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Your officers, as I have been told, appear to have broken their own honor. They did not comply with your orders. When my officers,
I can imagine they are getting red lists as well. I apologize for that.
when my crew is so derelict, I do not hesitate to discipline them. Tell me, Denobulin, what would you do in my situation?
Were I on my captain's ship and I was in charge, you would be confined to the brig.
Some of them are already situated as such. Their arms have been confiscated. Captain, might I make a suggestion? This will actually help you, Doctor. As I understand it, Kurlesh says, pushing forward Remora, Suliban have a quite remarkable genetic structure. It is, if I understand correctly, it is part of the advantage that they had with their cabal, perhaps as opposed to your small petri dishes. This would a live specimen such as this would prove more efficient for generating the effects that you want to see, discounting the peculiarities of Suliban DNA.
Hey, Doc.
Hello, Remora.
Kind of had a thing go on, and it was either I surrender or the crew gets killed in front of me. So here I am.
Yes, I would agree that is a wise course of action for you to be here.
Unfortunately, they needed the leader of the crew, and now I'm here, the leader, the smartest of the rest.
I wouldn't put it that far.
Bael turns her head in your direction. Doctor, would that work?
Certainly something that I could try. Could be.
Xantar, bear in mind he's asking. The Klingon has proposed live experimentation using
Yes.
So not just abandoning lack of ethics, but
Yes.
also yeah.
However, that would cause harm to Remora. I am a doctor, not a sycophant, not a psycho. I would not willingly infect someone merely to find a cure.
I was not asking you that question.
Did you say cure?
In the all eyes, as you direct that question, Xantar, you hear from behind you, Carrick say, Suliban physiology is unique. It may prove with metabolic stimulation, may prove to be useful. And he actually produces a scanner. He already shows signs of the virus has already carried in.
Whoops.
I'm gonna ask again. Did you say cure?
I'm afraid so, Remora.
Wait. Okay. Let's all take a step back here. So,
Xantar will also pull out his medical tricorder and scan Remora.
what you guys are saying is that there is a harmful disease that is afflicting you and you needed help?
This would be a reason plus medicine roll. Difficulty 1, Xantar.
Yep.
That is 2 successes.
Just put out
Or
there's 3 successes.
Yeah.
I will put that 2 momentum in the pot. Ding.
Yep. Xantar, you've come to realize that with all your focus on these microbial samples, you haven't been paying such close attention. The virus is airborne. Remora has already been exposed. And in approximately... if the Klingons are any model off of, in about a day's time, he's going to start growing some ridges.
I was joking about that earlier, but okay. All right. Yeah. Xantar will grab Remora and bring him over to one of the biobeds. Come along, Ensign. We need to get this sorted quickly.
Remora's gonna get
Gotcha.
swole.
Xantar, as you start pulling him towards the biobed, the captain grabs your arm, pulls you back for a moment. Do not try my patience further, Doctor. Time is very much against us. And if this virus or anything else befalls my crew, yours will pay. She'll release your arm.
Xantar will nod, just to show his understanding, and then come Remora. There is work to be done.
Xantar, I need you to look at me real quick for a second. I need you to listen to me really close.
Yes?
I do not care if it kills me. You save these people. Men die so women and children don't. You do what you have to.
A noble sentiment, Remora, but do not worry. You'll be fine. Just in case, like, Remora needs any, like, reassurance, Xantar is partially lying, because he's just trying to keep you calm.
Very well, very well.
GM,
Yes.
if I may, Xantar will also quickly scan himself, see if the virus has also infected himself.
Give me a reason plus medicine roll. Actually, no, I'll just build that off of the same
Oops.
one since you didn't succeed there anyway. But
Yeah.
I'll let you decide whether this is self-imposed complication as you run the scan and you look over your own bare hands as you realize that you had already compromised the suit.
Yes.
So keen to prevent, ply your usual effort to keep the disease contained. The compromising by opening the gloves, you have compromised your suit. The airflow has gotten in, and you scarcely pay attention to the tricorder readouts as you realize what you have done and what has likely been the case for some hours of likely exposure. Particularly with somebody whom, after having given you 2 samples, slicing directly into his body, somebody who is very much a carrier and symptomatic.
At that point, the doctor just removes his EVA helmet. Well, there's no point of this now. Places it down.
Does that mean I can take mine off too?
It's pointless at this point, Remora. You might as well, and make it
Yeah.
easier for me to access you.
Just Remora takes off the helmet that has been, like, carved in part. So, yeah, with that, Xantar, you have new patients to attend to, and process to start working with. Before he leaves, a final. You are provided one final bit of information, particularly as Kurlesh takes the doctor's diktat, which has been since scrubbed for the samples. And as happens with the crew, he cuts in and supplies you the blood off of that. Nobody just stops to give you a sample.
Yes.
Yes. The
Ooh. Sample from him.
yeah.
That's handy.
So with all of this, Xantar, your work is becoming increasingly urgent. That I think that with such as this is, I think this is probably where we should call it for now. This is the most logical stopping point. So we will, we'll plan to come back here. I guess next. We're going to leave off the recording for now. So for those of you that were joining us here, we hope you enjoyed. If you want to ever drop in for one of our streams, we run these live 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just calculate time zones as needed. And this is where we will leave you off. So have a good rest of your day.